She said she wanted honesty. So you were honest. She said she wanted safety. So you made her feel safe. She said she wanted emotional connection. So you opened up, listened deeply, gave her all your attention. And still, she pulled away. She lost interest. The fire dimmed. The energy shifted. And you were left wondering, again, what you missed, what you didn't say, what you failed to do. You thought you did everything right. You followed her words like a map. But the destination never arrived. Because what she said she wanted and what actually stirred her desire were never the same thing. This is the unspoken split inside the feminine psyche. Carl Jung warned us of this, that there's a separation between the surface and the soul, between what a woman believes she wants and what her unconscious craves. And until a man sees this clearly, he will continue to listen with his ears and fail with his energy. In this video, we'll unravel one of the most confusing dynamics men face today. You'll learn why her conscious desires often contradict her unconscious arousal, why being safe, available, and respectful often makes her feel nothing, why the men she tells you be like are never the ones she sleeps with, and how to become the kind of man she responds to, not with logic, but with instinct. This is not about manipulation. It's not about becoming someone you're not. It's about understanding how female desire actually works, so you can stop losing yourself trying to be who she says she wants. Because when you stop performing and start embodying, she stops thinking and starts feeling. Let's begin. Number 1, the split psyche, Jung's warning on inner division. Carl Jung observed a silent fracture running through every human being, especially within the feminine psyche. It is a fracture between who she thinks she is and what she unconsciously carries, between her socially accepted identity and the shadow that lives behind it. In women, this division often shows up most clearly in love and desire. What she says she wants, kindness, equality, emotional safety, is shaped by her conscious values. This is the realm of the persona, the socially approved version of herself, the one she shows to friends, therapists, Instagram. But what she responds to, what arouses her, draws her, obsesses her, is shaped by the unconscious. And the unconscious does not care about virtue. It only responds to what is felt. That's why a woman can say she wants a nice man, and then crave the one who's distant, mysterious, even a little dangerous. It's not hypocrisy. It's fragmentation. This is a feminine paradox most men don't see. They take her words at face value. They listen, adjust, adapt, and then feel betrayed when her goodness earns them only friendship, not fire. But Jung would say, don't blame her. She may not even be aware of what she's doing. The persona is not a lie. It's just incomplete. And the deeper her disconnection for her shadow, the less she understands why she feels nothing around men who check all the boxes. That's the tragedy. Many women are caught between what they believe is right and what they secretly crave. And many men are caught between who she tells them to be and who she actually responds to. You don't solve this by becoming manipulative. You solve it by seeing clearly. You stop reacting to her words. And you start observing what her body, her silence, her tension is actually communicating. That's the doorway, not into her mind, but into her truth. And only men who see the split ever learn to cross it. Number 2, what she says, the social persona. She tells you she wants a kind man, a man who listens, who communicates, who's emotionally available, who doesn't play games, who makes her feel safe. And every part of you, if you've been raised to be decent, thinks, of course, that makes perfect sense. So you give her all of it. You text back fast. You remember her favorite things. You support her career. You open up about your feelings. You're soft when she needs comfort. You never make her feel judged. But slowly she fades. She starts pulling away, losing interest, making excuses. Until finally, you hear it. You're everything I thought I wanted. But something's just missing. That's the moment most men break. Because they believed her words. They followed her map. But the map was written by her persona, not her instincts. Jung defined the persona as the mask we wear to function in society. It's not fake. It's functional. But it's limited. It says what sounds good, what feels noble, what protects us from judgment. And for women, that mask is often shaped by years of conditioning. Be polite, be fair, be empowered, but never too needy, never too raw, never too animal. So when she describes what she wants in a man, she speaks through that mask. She gives the socially approved answer, the safe answer, the answer her mother, her therapist, her friends would all nod at. But she's not lying. She just doesn't know that her body will betray that answer later. And here's the real danger. The more she lives from her persona, the more she distances herself from her shadow, from the deeper cravings she may not even be ready to accept. So when a man shows up and embodies everything she said she wanted, but none of what her nervous system responds to, she feels the conflict. And in most cases, she runs. Not because he's not good, but because he's only good. The persona may approve of him, but the unconscious cannot feel him. And no woman will fall in love with a man she can't feel. Number 3. What turns her on? The shadow craving. Every woman has a shadow. It isn't dirty. It isn't wrong. It's simply the part of her that society told her to hide. Her aggression, her chaos, her hunger, her unfiltered desire. Carl Jung called the shadow the part of the psyche we reject, yet secretly obey. And when it comes to love, to sex, to attraction, the shadow has far more power than her words ever will. You want to know what actually turns her on? It's not safety, not comfort, not endless availability. It's tension, polarity, the presence of a man who doesn't need her, but sees through her. The shadow craves intensity. It craves risk, danger, surrender, not in the form of abuse, but in the form of power, the power of masculine containment, the kind that doesn't flinch when tested, that doesn't apologize for wanting, that doesn't shrink when she throws her storms. This is why so many women fall for the emotionally unavailable man, the mysterious one, the one who doesn't over-explain, not because he's healthy, but because he triggers her shadow. And when the shadow feels seen, even in dysfunction, it awakens. That's also why romance novels are full of billionaires, vampires, mafia bosses, and morally gray men. These archetypes aren't just fantasy. They're coded expressions of feminine shadow desires. They offer domination without chaos, power without explanation, and women unconsciously flock to them because their own inner wildness feels mirrored. But here's the paradox. She cannot say she wants this, because the persona is still in charge of her voice. The shadow only speaks through instinct, through body language, eye contact, physiological response. That's why you can't take her words literally. Her mouth may say, "I want a nice guy," but her pupils dilate when she's near a man who doesn't flinch. You can't reason your way into her attraction. You must resonate with her shadow. But to do that, you have to meet your own. Because only a man who's integrated his own darkness, who doesn't fear his depth, can hold hers without collapsing. And that's the man she craves. Not in thought, but in breath, in pulse, in silence. Number 4, the mistake of taking words literally. Most men are trained to be listeners, not just with their ears, but with obedience. She says she wants space, you give her space. She says she wants emotional openness, you open up. She says she wants a nice guy, you soften everything sharp in you to match the script. And then she disappears. Not because you misheard her, but because you listened too literally. In male logic, words are contracts. If someone says what they want, you assume they've thought it through. You assume clarity, consistency, and linearity. But the feminine psyche doesn't operate in straight lines. It moves in spirals. It contradicts itself. And within those contradictions, there's a deeper truth. When she says, "I want you to be more open," what she might actually mean is, "I want to feel your depth." but you misinterpret as oversharing, as emotional dumping, as making her your therapist. And she starts to pull away, not because she lied, but because you didn't feel what she was really asking for. That's the trap, believing her language is literal, when it's often emotional. Women are not lying when they speak, but they are not always speaking from the part of themselves that runs desire. That part, the unconscious, the body, the archetypal feminine, doesn't use language. It uses feeling. So when she says she wants a man who listens, what she often means is, I want to feel heard by your presence, not your agreement. When she says she wants honesty, what she actually wants is your unapologetic truth, even when it stings. When she says she wants safety, she doesn't mean absence of tension. She means the presence of something stronger than her chaos. Men who take words at face value often end up frustrated. They think they did what was asked. But attraction doesn't live in instructions. It lives in instincts. And instincts don't follow grammar. They follow gravity. If you keep trying to do what she says without observing what makes her body lean in, what silences her mind, you'll always miss the moment. Because what she says she wants is not always what her soul reaches for when no one's watching. Number 5, stillness, mystery, polarity. What she actually responds to. What she says catches your attention. But what she responds to moves her body without her permission. And that has nothing to do with how much you love her. Nothing to do with how available you are. Nothing to do with how many kind things you've done. She responds to stillness, to mystery, to polarity, not because she's shallow, but because her nervous system is ancient, because her desire was shaped long before modern romance gave her language, because arousal isn't logical, it's energetic. Carl Jung once wrote that the feminine longs to be contained by something greater than itself, not dominated, not suppressed, contained. That means a man who would become vast inside, vast enough to hold her storms, her beauty, her fear, her fire, without collapsing. And the only thing that allows a man to do that is stillness, not silence. Stillness, the capacity to remain internally rooted even when she's spinning, the ability to breathe slowly when she accelerates emotionally, the quiet confidence that says, I don't need to prove myself to you. I already am. That's the masculine frame she's unconsciously testing for. The edge of your groundedness, the border of your gravity. She'll push. She'll question. She'll try to pull you out of it. Not because she wants to destroy you, but because she wants to feel you. Because when she feels your mystery, your unwillingness to be fully known, your ability to keep part of yourself unspoken, her instincts wake up. Because mystery creates tension. And tension, when held not resolved, is the birthplace of attraction. Polarity is not dominance over her. It's the difference between your energy and hers. The difference that creates charge, spark, chemistry. Two energies that are too similar repel. But masculine stillness and feminine movement, they magnetize. So if you ever wonder why the man who says less, reveals less, and gives less seems to hold her attention more, it's not because she wants less. It's because she feels him more. Not through what he gives, but through what he refuses to give away. His center. Number 6. From listener to mirror, how to be the man she feels. There's a moment when a man stops listening with his ears and begins listening with his spine. It happens when he realizes that words don't hold the truth. That what she says is often a mask. That what she claims to want may be real, but incomplete. That what moves her is not in the sentence, but in the space between. And in that moment, he shifts. He stops performing, stops chasing, stops adjusting every part of himself to match her emotional weather. He becomes something else entirely. A mirror, not a passive reflection, but a silent force that reveals who she really is, through who he refuses to stop being. Carl Jung spoke of the self as the integration of opposites. And when a man becomes a mirror, he no longer reacts from need. He responds from wholeness. He doesn't try to impress her with emotional awareness. He doesn't attempt to heal her with words. He simply remains clear-rooted, embodied, and in his presence, something happens. She begins to feel her own disconnection, her own unintegrated parts, her own shadow, because he isn't reflecting her persona. He's reflecting her soul, not in judgment, but in stillness. And that kind of reflection is rare. It's disruptive and unforgettable. That's why she can't stop thinking about him, even if he barely spoke. That's why she comes back, months, even years later, without fully understanding why. Because his presence wasn't about performance. It was truth, and truth, real unshakable truth, rewires a feminine nervous system in ways that words never could. So stop trying to be the man she describes, and start becoming the man her body can't ignore. Not because you're louder, or colder, or more alpha, but because you've stopped negotiating who you are. You're no longer listening for her approval. You're listening to the moment, to the field, to the way her chaos meets your calm. And when you become that mirror, unmoved, unwavering, unfiltered, she will either run or rise. But either way, you'll remain, because you didn't become this for her. You became this for you. So now you see the split. She says one thing, but her eyes, her body, her energy speak something else entirely. And if you don't understand that split, if you keep taking her words as maps to her soul, you will spend your life walking in circles, doing everything right, giving everything she asked for, and never being the man she actually feels. But this isn't her fault. It isn't yours either. It's the cost of forgetting that love is not built in language. It's built in tension, in polarity, in the unspoken dance between presence and surrender. The moment you stop trying to become what she says she wants and start becoming what you are, you enter a different reality. A reality where you no longer seek permission to lead, where you no longer explain your depth, where you let her feel you instead of convincing her to see you. That's when she begins to trust something ancient in you, not because you followed the script, but because you burned it. So here's what I want you to remember. Don't try to be safe. Be rooted. Don't try to be liked. Be real. Don't try to be her fantasy. Be her mirror, because a man who speaks less but carries presence will always leave a deeper impact than the man who tries to say all the right things. If this message opened something in you, let me know in the comments. Tell me where you've been caught between her words and her silence. And share this video with a man who's been trying so hard to do it right. He's forgotten how to be real. Like this video. Subscribe. Come back for more. Because this space isn't about tactics. It's about truth. And when you live from truth, you never have to chase what's already drawn to your gravity.